The scaffold is raised 150 feet and the shaft is now clear for firing. A clean pull will leave a cone of dirt like this. The scaffold is lowered again to its mucking position and the cycle is repeated. Mucking out the spoil, drilling and wall bolting, charging and firing. Mucking out for the third time will now leave a clean floor and 18 feet of exposed wall face, sufficient for the next walling section. In practice, however, we drill and fire a third time. But the coast dirt is only levelled off and not removed. We shall see why later. Now we can look at the drilling operations for this third phase in detail. The air and water hoses, slung beneath the supply kibble like spaghetti, are lowered with the machines and drill rods to the waiting drilling crew. The two manifolds are then coupled to the main air and water bags which hang down the shaft wall. The drilling shift follows standard practice. A typical round of 100 shot holes over a total shaft diameter of about 27 feet will take the crew about 2 hours. It's only in the later stages of charging and firing that we have cut previous British performance times by more than half. From 10 to 12 machines are coupled to the hoses and fitted with 6-foot rods. We use only one rod length to each shot hole, that is the depth of the pull. Drilling is done to a set pattern of 7 rings. Directed by the foreman, the number 1 driller starts on the first of the 4 shot holes which make up the center core. These are drilled at an inclined angle to give a maximum center lift. Then the perimeter holes are marked out, close up to the wall and about 4 feet apart. The two teams work towards each other, each man drilling his own sector. On the drilling shift, it's as wet as an English summer. But we like it better that way. There's no possibility of dust. Here in diagram we can see the pattern of shot holes. First, the center core of 4 holes working outwards. And from 32 perimeter holes we work inwards until we have a final pattern of 7 concentric rings. As each hole is drilled out, the machine is withdrawn and the hole is plugged with a wooden peg to mark it. When drilling is finished, the shot holes are blown out, charged, and the water stems them. An exemption granted in March 1958 allowed us for the first time to fire shots from the mains electricity supply. With this method of shot firing, the primers are arranged in groups of 5 or 6. And these groups are then connected in parallel on 2 buzz wires. An outer circle and an inner circle. All the work of connecting the groups of primers to the buzz wires is done above ground. This saves a considerable amount of time in the shaft. Special inert primers were designed for the job. The detonator is embedded in a plaster cartridge. These are each numbered from 1 to 7, indicating the ring of shot holes for which they're intended. There's a half-second delay between each ring. Here's a group made up of 2 6s and 3 7s. The lead wires from the primers are colored red and yellow. The yellow lead of one primer is connected to the yellow of another, and red to red. Like this, a group of 5 primers is convenient to handle and easily identified by its numbers at shaft bottom. The polythene bags were our own idea. They make the job easier down below. 9 groups of 6s and 7s complete the outer buzz wire. Each group is now connected in parallel across the 2 cores of the wire about 8 feet apart. A simple loop and protective tape make an effective connection. The inner buzz wire is made up in the same way, but there are only 6 groups of primers for the inner rings. The completed sets are packed away in rubber-lined boxes ready for transportation to the shafts when needed. Mains shot firing, with parallel connections and these prefabricated sets, has cut charging and firing times down to less than 1 hour. This system has proved itself highly effective and is now being applied at other sinkings. Since misfires are rare, the system is safer. We've also been able to increase the number of shots per round to get a more effective pull over the whole shaft area. Buzz wires can be laid underwater if necessary, and the number of connections that have to be made at shaft bottom are reduced to 4. But you can't take risks with a mains supply at any time, and as we shall show, the system is elaborately safeguarded. First, the sets of primers are unpacked at shaft bottom and distributed to their appropriate rings. The 4 connections are made between the ends of the buzz wires and the conducting cable. The scaffold is raised to the firing position, 150 feet above shaft bottom, and the conducting cable is unwound from the shot firing reel on the top deck. A safety resistance is removed before plugging in the main shaft cable. The circuit is now complete and must be tested. The strictest safety measures are applied in the firing cubicle. First, the deputy disconnects the firing circuit to check the continuity of the underground wiring. Both primary and firing contactors are isolated from the mains transformer. Satisfied with the test, he reconnects the firing circuit and contactor.